It's DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Second District Congressman Troy Carter joins us now. Congressman Carter, welcome in. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you today?
Doing very well as well. We got a couple topics to talk about today. One of which I'm curious about: a passport clinic. What's that all about?
Yeah, we get lots and lots of phone calls with people who have difficulty in navigating the bureaucracy of getting a passport. Oftentimes, it's people who have purchased their honeymoon package or their cruise or family reunion and either realize, oh, gee, I didn't get my passport. Now my trip is next week. What will I do? Or people who find themselves in a situation where they have to travel for a funeral or some special occasion for a loved one, and they can't find their passport, and now they're rapidly trying to recover it. It's a major issue, and with the holiday season coming up, we want to just remind people, if you plan to travel, let's start doing those basic things to be ready. And one of the things that I promised when I first became a member of Congress is that we were not going to always expect people to come to the mountain. We would bring the mountain to the people. And so part of our issue and part of our plan has been what we call our roadside LAO2 deals, where we take functions of government to the community, rather it's dealing with Social Security, Veterans Affairs, passports, or what have you, and we bring it to different parts of the district to make it easy and accessible. So the passport curbside was to do just that, to provide resources to the public so they can be able to easily access information and resources to get their passports ahead of the holiday rush.
Talk with Congressman Troy Carter, is DC Current, presented by LABI. Where was this most recent one, and how often does this get done?
Well, we do them periodically. We do. We try to do one a month, but it just depends. Sometimes more, sometimes less. This last one was in Baton Rouge, which gave an opportunity to once again spread out into other parts of the district.
Also, on our rundown for today, we got to talk a little bit about open enrollment, because this is another one where your office takes on a whole lot of outreach. It is open enrollment time for healthcare.
Yeah, and it's important that people realize. You may have seen there's a commercial that's pretty popular, that's running all over the country, reminding people that you have to pay attention to your enrollment, to make sure that during this open enrollment that you double check to make sure your resources are in place. Mm-hmm. So we're just reminding people that they have until the 15th of December to double check their coverage, to make sure if there's any changes, or for people who need to enroll. We know because of the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, the average enrollee will save nearly $1,300 in premiums this year. That's a big deal. And individuals with ACA Marketplace health insurance coverage, they'll pay an average of $2,000 in premium this year. So those are big savings. Looks like we'd have somewhere in the average of premiums that would otherwise would have increased. So we see these opportunities to make sure that people are paying attention, they're taking advantage of the opportunity, and God forbid they miss the opportunity for enrollment, and that's a whole nother sticky wicket that they'll have to deal with. So we want to remind everyone that open enrollment is until December 15th. And so please take advantage of the opportunity to go. One, double check to make sure your coverages are up to date. Mm-hmm. Two, if you aren't covered, to make sure that you are. And three, if you need to modify for whatever reason, that you take advantage of the opportunity to do so. You have until December 15th.
This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Every week we get the chance to talk with Congressman Troy Carter about what's going on with not just the second district, but our Louisiana representation up on Capitol Hill. Speaking of Capitol Hill, Congressman Carter, if we could pivot to that for just a minute, we're about 10 days away from needing a new spending plan, needing a new budget. Where are our talks right now?
Well, we've got two different plans. One is a continuing resolution that will allow us to get through January, and then one that will get us through the whole year. Mm-hmm. And those negotiations are ongoing. Needless to say, yours truly always wants the one that gives us the greatest amount of security and stability, and that would be one that does the whole year of spending. So people are not made to be in a position of uncertainty, not knowing if government's going to shut down, if our military officials are going to be, and our soldiers, men and women in uniform, are going to be paid, or our people that are depending on their Social Security checks, that they're going to be mailed out timely. I think we, as a government, have a responsibility to the people that we serve to get beyond our partisan differences and fund the government to make sure these vital functions are not interrupted. So I'm prayerful, and I continue to stay at the table pushing Republicans and Democrats alike to do the right thing, and that is to make sure that we provide stability in our spending, albeit being responsible in our spending, but making sure that we, in a timely way, maintain the flow of government resources to make sure our flanks are protected domestically and abroad, and make sure all the functions that the American people need, deserve, and have paid into are not interrupted.
The difference between the continuing resolution and the proposed budget, I mean, how far apart, like numbers-wise, are they? Because I would imagine with a continuing resolution, it's more stopgap measures versus an overall big picture. Probably some cuts that might be wanted by some would not be in the overall budget. How far apart are we looking here? It's
a moving target. I couldn't give you a number now because it depends on who you're talking to. On any given day, we've got 435 members of Congress and very, very sharply divided views. And with that becomes the gumbo, if you will, of throwing that all into a pot and figuring out how to make something tasty. No one gets 100% of what they want, and hopefully no one gets 100% of what they don't want. And we end up with a budget that is the makeup of the definition of a good compromise. Everyone walks away feeling like they got something, and no one walks away feeling like they got everything they wanted.
Got just a couple minutes left with Congressman Troy Carter. So when it comes to this battle here, I mean, is it straight party lines, or are there different factions within? Because I know we've seen different parts of both parties just throw a monkey in the wrench, as it were.
Yeah, no, I think this is not necessarily just down party lines. You've got members of each party that have issues and concerns about how the budget goes. For example, the way the speaker presented the funding for our friends in Israel, and it neglected to have humanitarian aid for the civilians that are being killed on either side of this conflict. Likewise, we did not have funding for Ukraine. It wasn't very long ago that Democrats, Republicans, 100% of us stood on the steps of the Capitol pledging our support to Ukraine to push back against the evils of Putin's war. However, now we find ourselves in a pickle where there's some who are wanting to pull back on funding for Ukraine. Well, let me tell you, this is not Republican or Democrat, and there are equal Republicans and Democrats who are upset that this funding was not in place. When we push back when we give our support to Ukraine, we're pushing back against Putin and his attempt to ruin democracy as we know it. Russia and Putin hate America, and they are trying to damage and destroy Ukraine so they can get to us. And when we flow our resources and our funding to Ukraine in this effort to push back against Putin, we're de facto helping the regime, an evil regime of Putin's war, and we can't do that. And so therein lies another one of those examples where, in a bipartisan fashion, we have to keep pushing, because as we fight to protect our foreign partners, we are likewise fighting to protect the freedoms that we enjoy in America. And freedom isn't free, and we have to maintain our vigilance, our support for our European and NATO partners to make sure that America continues to be the great country that she is, and that the freedoms that we enjoy are not interrupted by the conflicts that happen in other parts of the world.
He is Congressman Troy Carter, joins us about this time every single Tuesday. We always appreciate it, sir. We will talk to you next week.
God bless you, my friend. Have a fantastic week.